They say that working a triple shift on a holiday weekend at O'Leary's Diner is the closest thing to a marathon, just with more coffee spills and less applause. But this Memorial Day, it was less about the exhaustion and more about how the meaning of service took a whole new turn. It was 9 p.m. and the place was bustling with customers. I was on my 23rd hour straight, feeling like a zombie in a cute apron. I served tables, worked the register, and even did some dishwashing when Jake, our dishwasher, called in sick. There was a group of men at table 6, probably in their 50s. They were loud, each joke louder than the last, each belly laugh seeming to echo off the old diner's walls. There was a camaraderie there, a friendship that spanned decades. Among them, one was quieter, more reserved, his smiles gentle, and his laughter more like soft chuckles. As I refilled their coffee mugs for the 3rd time, the quiet guy, Fred, they called him, suddenly dropped his mug. Hot coffee splashed everywhere, his hands started shaking, and then his whole body. It was like a wave had taken him, thrashing him against an invisible shore. I had seen this before, it was a seizure. My younger brother used to have them, and the memory of his first one rushed back to me, knocking the wind out of me. The room that was filled with laughter seconds ago fell into an eerie silence. Panic set in among Fred's friends, their faces turning white. My exhaustion suddenly vanished, replaced by adrenaline. I pushed the panic down and shouted at the diner's chef, Rosie, to call 911. I tried to remember what my mother did for my brother. Position on the side, don't hold him down, and time the seizure. These steps started playing in my head like an old movie reel. As I held Fred, his friends, the big tough guys who were laughing loudly just moments ago, were paralyzed, unable to move. It was as if a switch had flipped. And for that moment, I wasn't a waitress tired from overworking, I was the only lifeline Fred had. The seizure seemed to last an eternity, but it was probably no more than a few minutes. When it was over, Fred lay there, quiet and still. The sirens in the distance were getting louder, and I hoped help would arrive soon. I looked at the terrified faces around me, silently assuring them that he'd be okay, though I wasn't entirely sure myself. When the paramedics arrived, they took over, thanking me for what I had done. Fred was conscious but looked confused, as though he had woken up in a stranger's house. His friends were quiet, their eyes brimming with gratitude and worry. As Fred was wheeled away, one of his friends, with tears streaming down his face, squeezed my hand. "Thank you," he whispered, the strength in his voice betraying the vulnerability in his eyes. As the ambulance left, I stood there in the diner, staring at the spilled coffee and the half-eaten burgers. The regular chatter started up again, but I couldn't hear it. All I could hear was the beating of my heart, reminding me of the power of humanity, the strength that came from serving others. I had started the day as a simple waitress, fighting exhaustion, serving burgers and coffee. But I ended it as a lifesaver. I realized service wasn't just about delivering food to a table, it was about stepping up when someone needed help, even when you felt you had nothing left to give. A neural narration story.